I think best not to rush yours, innit, Rabjab? Did you hear me? So yes, welcome back to the channel. It's Friday today, and I did upload a video yesterday, which was this MOT and stuff, but of course we need to do the engine build. The CBR, I'm not sure if you've seen the video for that yet, so I'll leave that for now, because the videos, I've kind of switched the order a little bit, because actually I messed with the mopeds before coming back to this. So I've switched and changed a bit, and yeah, and I don't think I've uploaded anything on that yet. So that's fine, but that's here at the moment, but I'll come back to that. Very busy day ahead. I've got to drop the engine again and put in a new gasket set, top and bottom. Well worth doing. There's an oil leak there, and I'm just not the kind of person that will sell the bike. Yeah, it runs beautifully, and it's got a year's MOT, and everything else works, and it cleans up really nice. So I do want to get it done. And actually, in the last couple of weeks back, I was breaking this engine down and back together in an hour. So I'm going to do that today. We've got Rabjab's parts for Rabjab's bike. That should be back on the road today once he turns up. I've got a person who lives close-ish who wants to sell me their Piaggio Fly, but it's got a seized engine. Part of me wants to help him out and buy it, because I can kind of break the engine down and just have a play with it. Ultimately though, it's going to need a second-hand engine. I've got another 125 calf racer that I'm interested in. I'm potentially trying to get it. I can do a Part X with this, so I can get a few hundred for this plus that project bike if I get this done today. So that's possibly on the horizon. And actually, whether you've seen the footage of this or not, it doesn't run at the moment. I've cleaned the injectors, they're good. Fuel pump's not priming at the moment, that's the main thing. And I've priced up the work for this bike. The radiator's 180 quid, the fuel pump's 220 quid, the downpipes are 180 quid. The radiator is 100 quid. It's hundreds. Part of me would love to buy this off Ivan for 300 or 400 quid, but even though I know it needs 500 or 600 put into it, and a lot of time, guys, and a lot of waiting. Some of these parts would be coming from America, the downpipes, for example. It still feels like a low blow to say to a friend, look, it's only worth 300 or 400 quid, I'll give you 300 or 400 quid. So I'm not sure if I'm going to bother. Part of me is considering that, and part of me is not sure. It's a 2002 600 Fi. It's in good nick, but it did have that bang. It needs a lot of work. It needs the fork seals, it needs a new radiator, the fuel pump's not working or priming, the downpipes have a crack in it. I doubt they could be welded. They're quite rusty and crusty now. So it just needs, and then it needs a good full service. That's the crack, look. Then needs a good full service, blah blah blah. And actually on the other side there's a brace there, so you couldn't even do your old-fashioned gum wraps and stuff, because there's a plate that holds the two together there. So it's on a really weird joint. It needs a new set of downpipes. Technically, look, it needs a new can as well. So it just, it's a great bike. It's here. It can be put back on the road, but it needs weeks and it needs hundreds put into it. So I'll talk to Ivan today about that. My main thing for an hour before Rabjab or anyone gets here, or Aussie gets here, is I want to start breaking this down. Get it back to the position where I can put it back together, put the new gasket set on there and put it back together. We shouldn't find any gremlins. We've had this engine in and out, you know, plenty of times. The main thing is that I need to get it back in and torque it up appropriately. I'm going to use some gasket sealer on the bottom, but not on the head. That makes sense. The bottom one's fine for that, and that's where the leak is. And then I haven't got a torque wrench. I need to buy a new one. We don't really know the torque specs for these bikes. It's impossible to find. I've checked everywhere. There aren't any. You can use the equivalent, which is the Suzuki GS125, 11 foot-pounds of torque on them head bolts. But that's a guess as well, guys. It's all guesswork. But you know when you run it and ride it for 15-20 minutes, if you come back and it's not leaking, then you've done your job. The rest of the engine's beautiful. I've also got a brand new airbox for it. So I'm not going to film this, you know how it works. I'm going to sit here, take my time, break it all down, chill out, wait for Rabjab to get here, and then I might get it done before he gets here, I might not. I'll put it aside and we'll help Rabjab get back on the road ASAP. So I've got to this far, and this front nut here, well, that's the actual nut here, it didn't feel right. And then I looked in and it's rounded off. So actually there was no pressure pressing down on the front. My temptation here is to torque it to spec now at the front. Forget the rest at this stage. Torque it to spec, put it back together. Because actually if there's no pressure there holding that side down, and then of course it's going to leak. I think some of you are going to be shouting at me down the whatever you're watching on TV screen. Just put it apart, you're there already. But there is a gasket under there, and that bottom gasket is the basic paper one. The head gasket's not leaking. That bolt wasn't doing anything because it's completely, I don't know if you can see it, guys. Oh, did I just lose it? I don't know if you could see it, but there is no, it's smooth. So it looks like it has it's got the markings, but actually it's smooth. It would slide on and off. So it kind of makes sense to me as to what's happened. I think if I put that on and torque it appropriately, we should have resolved our issue down here, shouldn't we? And it would save the rest of the work. Other part of me is thinking, I'm here at this stage, all the bolts are off, it's now ching ching off. I can put a bit of sealer down there under the new gasket, clean it all off, do it properly. Now it's done. That's right, guys, thanks for your help. I'm convinced it will let me pop it all off and do it properly. I'm here, the new gasket's there, silly not to. So Aussie's been and gone. We've booked the fan for in an hour. We'll go back and pick up this little Piaggio Fly. I feel really sorry for him. A lovely, lovely guy. I wish I could pull it apart, get it fixed for him one day later and let him have it. But it's a seized engine. It's really not going to be like that. He's very happy for me to slip him 300 quid and work on the bike. As in, keep it and try and do it up. But my primary purpose here is to help people out. I wish it was just a bike that cut out and it stopped getting throttle or something. But it's a seized engine, so that's a shame. But actually, what would a breaker give to him now? 150 quid, 100 quid? I don't think people would touch it with a barge pulse with a confirmed seized engine. So we're doing something, and then he can go out and get himself something else. I advised the Mark 1 and 2's flies, actually. The one before his model, the carb models, I advised them. They're really good, strong engines. They're the Piaggio leader engines. Now the Mark III might be leader engines, but they've put so much emissions control and electrics on them that they're just not as reliable. Gaskets down here. I've used a little bit of sealant underneath. I always do. I just think it helps it seal and sit nice and still where it should be, and it just helps the whole process go along. I need to make sure I clean thoroughly the surfaces that are going back on, because this is going to be the last time I do it. This is the last time I'm taking this engine apart. Even if it's leaking, it's over. And actually, the potential next owner of this bike wants to come and view today, and that's something that's quite new for me. It's like, shit, you know, he says, what time can I come and view? And I'm here with this engine in my hands. I'm like, shit. So he's probably going to come and view later today, but if he is, I've got a lot of work to do between now and then, including picking up this fly and helping Rabjab put his back on the road. But with Rabjab here, it makes it a bit lighter and easier anyway. So if we look where we are, we've got the new gasket down, we've got a bit of sealant on the top and bottom. I always stand by a bit of sealant on a gasket just to help it seat and secure. Piston's in, piston went in nicely. You do have to kind of close the rings, make sure all the gaps are separate, and entice it in, a bit of oil as well to help that out. And then actually this will seat nicely now. Once I seat this down, I'm going to want to get the rest together at a reasonable rate now, to kind of get it all nipped down and bolted up so that the little bits of sealant can do their job as well. New head gaskets here, that will go on of course. The next step, which is up here, head gaskets, and then I don't know if I'll have much time to finish it before going to get the Piaggio fly, but I can finish it when I get back. So I'm just going to seat this down, push it down, get it to top dead center while we're here, best time to do it, and then the rest just kind of flows naturally, guys.
Battery forward.
Battery's okay. Such a busy day, guys. Right, ignition's on and done and nipped up, that's good. We haven't yet got the cover. I think the cover's quite important because that's one of the ways that they nick them. So I think we'll get the cover at some point. We've got an alarm, a loud alarm going on and in, obviously hidden. Rabjab's got a new tracker system going in. Now I'm gonna, for my Harley, I'm gonna be using a Samsung tracker system. But he's bought, what's it called, this one? The
They're quite good.
It's called the Moto something tracker system. Obviously we're not going to show you where we put this, guys. But it will be on there, and it runs its own battery, so they can cut all the wires. It will still track. We'll be hiding it. So it's going to have an alarm. The steering lock all works. The ignition all works. It will have a loud alarm, and it's going to have a tracker by the end of today. We have considered putting in a switch. I don't think we're going to put in a switch. I think the rest of it is enough. Once someone touches the bike, the loud alarm goes off. They should.
And the tracker will contact me.
And we've got the tracker, so I think we're going to deal about that. I'm still here. I've just got back. I picked up this, so I've just bought this fly. It's a 2013 fly. It has a seized engine. Oz said that the oil light was flashing, but he got it checked over. It had plenty oil in it, and then it stopped running and seized. A local bike shop has said yes, it's definitely seized. You've got two types of seizures here, guys, top end and bottom end. If it just needs a piston and rings, sorted, we can do that. If not, a second-hand engine. But for today, I'm really tight. Alarm and tracker on here. Well, let's get Rabjab back on the road. But the buyer of that is coming in like an hour.
I'll do that one first. Do one
so I do need to nip that down as well. I'm going to get back to there now and get the bolts nipped down and get it put back together a little bit, because he is coming to view it, and that bothers me. So the alarm's done. It's got a tip sensor and it's got a shock sensor. So it, you know, if it does sense you, oh god, we have to alarm it first. If it does sense you doing anything, it will give a couple of beeps warning like that, and then it will go off big if it felt like, well, there. Okay, so that's a good start. What we can't find is the key to the tank actually at the moment. Now I normally chuck keys and stuff back here, or they would be on my key shelf. No, here. So we need to find that key. But for now we do need to find that key and all for the
if I need to fill up petrol,
for the tank. Yeah, exactly.
Till I get paid next, I have to change the whole
although
system.
I do think you had it last. Check your bag.
I checked, there's nothing.
What key's that? The new one?
Yeah, that's a new one.
So we've got that. We're gonna install the tracker now. We've checked it. We've set it up. We're not going to tell you where we're going to install it for obvious reasons, but it's going to be pretty hidden. It needs to be tucked away, so we'll make sure we do that. And that's it, really. Nip the bike back up, put it back together, and get it out the way. Rabjab can then use his bike again. Have you got a fat chain, disc lock, cover?
I got a cover.
You got a padlock?
I got a padlock, chain lock, yeah.
You got a chain and lock?
Yeah. Disc lock.
Disc lock's a good idea. I haven't got any.
You got a spare one?
I
see you don't have a chain lock that I can use. Do you use it?
What? How many? I thought you've got a chain lock.
I only got one.
One, I mean.
Too big.
Alright, we'll work that out. Let's get
So now it's gonna be underneath my block.
Let's get the rest of the stuff. In fact, we can't do anything, we need to find that spare key. So currently I'm very happy with the engine work, with the torque specs. I have no doubt that it's going to be okay. I'd be shocked if it wasn't okay. Honestly, it should be spot on. Even the timing should be spot on. It looks spot on to me. It is actually. So in my head, this is done. It's torqued. It's sealed. It should be great. I'm not going to turn it over today. I'm going to do it tomorrow because I want the sealants to kind of go off a bit anyway. Not that it makes a difference. Most of them are pressed out anyway. So it was the bottom line here that had the issue. The new gasket should have resolved that. No reason why it wouldn't. And yeah, so I'm very happy. I put the cams on the wrong way around again. I put them upright, and then I had to pull it off and put them down. They have to be away from the cams, which are pushing. On this one, they're in the head, but that's fine. I'm definitely going to use a gasket on the top there for the same reason. I just don't want any more oil spill because this is it. The bike, the bike's done. It should have a few years on the road now. So yeah, so I'm happy with that at this stage. The owner's coming. It makes me quite nervous because he's due here soon, and I'm nowhere near. I'd prefer it to the potential owner. I'd prefer it to look like a bike. I did say to him, look, I'm building it at the moment. Trust me, it's the right thing, me doing this. I'm fixing an oil leak. It resolves your issue. Now, the reason I want this buyer to buy it is because he has a Part X that I want. It's a 125 calf. And I would like to build the calf or fix it. He currently can't find a stator for it. But as far as I'm aware, it's a 157 engine or 156. So any stator should work. He's got it in a garage, and they're messing him around. So I'm like, well, let me take the calf. I'll give you 400 for it. You give me the rest for this, 450 quid. Actually, no, this is up for £1,000. So whatever the difference is, and we're good to go. And I think that is a great idea. So I'll put the head on. I'm going to put a bit of gasket sealer on because there's no gaskets for these heads. I'm not sure why. And they didn't come in the kit, so maybe they don't normally anyway. But I am going to put some gasket on, and then we'll at least be able to fire this thing up if needed. I might even be able to get the tank on and bits and pieces before he got here. It might be that we need to finish Rabjab's tomorrow now,